Do you want to know the number one thing that you should never do with narcissists? I'm going to share it with you right here, right now. If you want to protect yourself, you want to help yourself, then you can't miss what I'm about to share with you. So stay tuned. Hey there, I'm Rebecca Zung. I am an attorney. I'm a narcissist negotiation expert. I'm over here. I'm telling you all kinds of free stuff. And I'm doing this because I have a mission. What attorneys are out there giving away free information, right? So if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, what are you waiting for? Come on, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I'm over here every single day uploading brand new content for you. I'm going to sit here and wait while you subscribe, and hit that notification bell. So let's talk about the number one thing that you should never do with narcissists. I mean, there's so many things that you should never do with narcissists, but in particular, the main thing that you should know is that they're not regular, reasonable people. They don't think like regular, reasonable people, and they're not going to act like regular, reasonable people. And one of the things that I've come to understand is that their brains are really actually different than regular, reasonable people's brains are. And in the formation of narcissists, when they were children, what happened was they were exposed to some kind of trauma, or that fight or flight thing was going on with them, and they were in survival mode at all times. You know what happens when you're in survival mode and you're constantly when you're afraid and those hormones are raging and you're like, oh my gosh, what's happening? And your brain is in that mode of survival. Right? So what happens is that lizard brain, that limbic brain gets coded in these certain types of chemicals. What happened when they were children is those chemicals just kept coming, right? And they were in survival mode. It actually caused their brains to be soaked in these chemicals on a regular basis. It caused literally this almost sort of like brain damage in a way, but their limbic lizard brain was permanently in this state of survival all the time. And so what happens now is they grow up, they become adults, and even though the rest of their brains allows them to function normally in a certain way and interact in a certain way, when they get presented with situations that cause them to feel that they're now having to go back into survival mode, that they feel that they're now being triggered again, and they have to go back into that limbic brain mode, they're now being triggered. Now it's emotionally, they're back there, and it's emotionally rage. And, you see that narcissistic rage come flying out. And that's when you start to see they go right back into where they were at that age, and you see them go crazy. And that's what happens to them. And so certain stimuli can cause it. If they feel like they're being exposed, if they feel like they're being embarrassed, it's hard to know what might happen. But if they feel in some way that they're being slighted, any little thing that can cause that narcissistic injury to be triggered, it can cause that narcissistic rage to come flying out, and they're back there, that limbic brain and that lizard brain, and there it comes, that narcissistic rage comes flying out. And so you cannot expect a narcissist to act like a regular, reasonable person in a situation. You cannot expect them to act like you would in a situation. And so that's the number one thing that you cannot expect. You cannot expect them to act like you're going to act in a situation. And so it's the hardest thing to process because you constantly want to overlay reason to the situation. Why are they being like this? Why are they doing this? It's so hard to process that they're going to behave in a certain way. I'll never forget one time when I was practicing law and this client called me up she was just leaving the school bus line, and she had been dropping her kids off, and the dad was there, the co-parent, and they happened to meet up at Carline. And there was a situation. She was like, can you believe he did this? And can you believe he did that? Of course, she had been telling me that he had been like that for years and years and years. And I remember saying to her, yes, I can believe that he did those things. What I can't believe is that you can't believe it, because isn't that how he is? In other words, I wanted her to have a shift in mindset, like always just expect him to act like that, because isn't that how he acts? Isn't that how he is? Right? And if you can start to have a mindset shift of expect them to act like that, and actually just be surprised if they act like a regular, reasonable person, be pleasantly surprised if they do, then it will help you with dealing with it, right? It will actually help you. And beyond helping you, it will actually start to help protect you, because you're not going to be exposing yourself constantly to these surprises, and you'll actually start to be able to understand the personality type more. You'll start to be able to protect yourself more. You will start to be able to understand where and when you can document this more. I actually have a whole video on YouTube on 5 rules for surviving relationships with narcissists. I highly recommend that you check that out, because you definitely want to be able to survive relationships with narcissists. That will definitely help you as well. But the number one thing that you can really, really do for yourself is understand that they're not regular, reasonable people. And so they're not going to act like that. They're not going to be that. And so stop being victim to it. The faster that you can stop yourself from, they did this to me and they acted like that to me, and I am in this situation because of them, and they made me feel, and blah, blah, blah. Because every time you say, he made me feel, she made me feel, you are putting yourself in the situation of being a victim. And the more you can start to see that, the faster you can turn it around and make yourself into a victor. The faster you can decide that you are a victor. And you know what the root of the word decide is? It's actually side, which is to kill, to cut off. And once you decide, you're actually cutting off any other possibilities. And you actually get to choose what your future is going to be. You actually can choose where it is that you're going. You actually can choose what your future is going to look like. And there's such a redemptive power in that. You actually get to choose what your future is going to be and shift your mindset in that way. And stop thinking that they're going to change, and stop thinking that anything is going to be different with them, because it's not. They're not able to be rehabilitated. They're not going to change. And so stop thinking that they're going to be regular, reasonable people, because they're not. Forget about getting them to acknowledge you. Forget about getting them to see your side. Forget about getting them to see what kinds of things you did for them, because they're not going to. I mean, you're not going to get closure out of them. Unfortunately, it's so unsatisfying. I know, believe me, I know, but forget about whatever the past is. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for whatever happened in the past, and give yourself your own closure, and just move forward from here and understand who it is that you're dealing with, and make an agreement with yourself that you understand the personality type that you're dealing with, and take care of yourself. You understand what it is that you're dealing with. You cannot take it personally, because hurt people hurt people. Narcissists were hurt people long ago, and they cannot be changed at this point. So understand the personality type that you're dealing with. Understand that that's what happened to them. Understand that there is a certain type of strategy that you're going to have to employ in order to negotiate with them in a powerful way. Understand that there is a certain type of leverage that you're going to have to create in order to deal with them in a powerful way. And that's part of my whole SLAY methodology: strategy, leverage, anticipate, and focus on you. And that's a whole other conversation, but you can do this. You absolutely can do this. And you're going to put that in the comments right now. I can do this, because you can. You absolutely can. But, the number one thing that you should never do with narcissists is think that you can interact with them like a regular, reasonable person, and think that they're going to be a regular, reasonable person. So just stop yourself every single time you think, why are they acting like this? And how come they're not doing this? And da, da, da. Every time you think that, stop yourself and think, because they're not. Because they're not. They're just not. They don't think like you. They don't act like you. They're not going to. So stop yourself from thinking that way, because they're not going to be like you, right? And the faster that you can get there, the faster that you can understand that, the faster that you're going to be able to help yourself, the faster you're going to stop being a victim, the faster that you're going to start being a victor, because you will slay this. You will slay your negotiations. You will slay your life. And today is going to be a great day to start negotiating your best life, because you're going to subscribe to this channel. You're going to join my free private Facebook group, right? Narcissist Negotiators with Rebecca Zung. You're going to grab my free Crush My Negotiation prep worksheet at winmynegotiation.com. If you don't have your own way of getting access to help and you do need it, you know that I have a sponsorship with betterhelp.com/Rebecca Zung. You can always go there. We do receive commissions from them if you choose to use their help, but we only recommend services that we trust. We just want you to get the help and support that you need. So go get the help and support that you need. And remember that today is a great day to start negotiating your best life.